With around 50 days until the 2020 election, Democrats continued their desperate move in their attempt to prove Joe Biden's worth as possible president of the United States. It appears that liberals and their comrades in the mainstream media outlets will stop at nothing to see Trump trounced in November, despite our dapper dawn of a president surging in polls across America, specifically in crucial battleground states like Florida. Today, I break down the Democratic deceptions of the Biden-Harris camp and the new lows of today's liberals. I'm Eric Wright, and you are listening to the Closet Conservative Podcast. On Thursday, September 10th, Communist Network News and Maddow-MSNBC were aglow after the legendary Washington Post reporter Bob Woodward released detailed recorded conversations between him and President Trump in preparation for his new book entitled Rage, which comes out Tuesday, September the 15th. And in this book, Woodward describes taped conversations between him and President Trump from December 2019 through July 2020. And in these transcripts, Woodward converses with the president regarding the coronavirus severity and his intentional downplaying of the virus in his attempt to not cause panic across the nation. Well, folks, you had to know that the liberal drive-by media was going to latch onto this story quicker than a copperhead on a calf muscle. And yet another blatant attempt to discredit the president's handling of the COVID-19 pandemic, Democrats led by Joe Biden and Kamala Harris took to the airwaves to demand that Donald Trump take accountability for intentionally lying to the American people and the deaths of thousands. Folks, I'm about to split my spleen over this one. While many of you listening today and I were not even alive when President Franklin Roosevelt addressed Congress and the American people via radio address after the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor, we have learned that during these types of times, and like Roosevelt, he remained steadfast in his resolve to keep America safe. He did not stand before the American people and tell them that they would die. In fact, at the closing of his speech, FDR said, "With confidence and the unbounding determination of our people, we will gain the inevitable triumph, so help us God." And there you have it, folks. The words of one of the most committed presidents in our nation's history. Our commander-in-chief said that we, the American people, would prevail and overcome. Ladies and gentlemen, I am here to tell you that despite being a Democrat, FDR pulled this nation out of the Great Depression and navigated our countrymen and women out of the depths and despair of global tyranny. During times of trouble and national emergency, a responsible person and president do not cause mass panic. Instead, through resolve and some possible stubbornness, a leader like FDR rallies, solidifies, and demands strength. Folks, I'm here to tell you our nation has a leader in President Donald J. Trump who isn't in it for the praises of the liberal pundits. Instead, he is in it to win it and with us and for us. The most recent political ad from the Biden-Harris camp released this week states that America deserves better than Donald Trump and instead of the worst 4 years in our nation's history. Our country needs a fresh start. That's right, folks. Joe Biden states that he can provide these United States with a fresh start. Where the hell has he been the last 50 years, folks? That's right. He has been in government, both serving as a U.S. Senator and 8 years as Vice President, where he aided and abetted the systematic dismantling of our nation's economy and social well-being. In 8 short years, Joe Biden sent nearly 1 million jobs overseas to China, resulting in record unemployment with no virus to blame other than the Obama-Biden virus unleashed across our country. U.S. manufacturing folded due to the Obama administration, and while the Chinese got rich, Mainstreet Americans lost their jobs, their retirement, their pensions, their homes, and ultimately their livelihoods. Joe Biden's disassociation of American democracy is nothing new. His delusional, democratic, dementia-ridden policies have been around for over a generation. And where has that gotten us? People of the state of Delaware and those across the country have trusted Joe Biden for nearly 50 years. But yet his philandering and political pollution of American success have left nothing but minorities behind, businesses bankrupt, and ordinary, everyday, blue-collar Americans with pennies in their pockets and shame in their souls. Joe Biden has no plan. Heck, he hasn't ever had a plan, but now his plan is to latch on to a newfound liberal policy that can make him look like a somebody, socialist or not. Joe Biden has not and does not care about the American people's well-being. And like Pelosi and the rest of the disheveled Democratic Party, he only cares about power. The power to pander to no end. The power to pound away at our nation's founding policies. And the power to pervert the principles of our great country. As Americans, we deserve better than any Democrat can offer, but especially Joe Biden. This is Eric Wright, and this has been the Closet Conservative Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe to our podcast. Please remember to give a 5-star review and share our podcast with your friends. The Closet Conservative Podcast is a production of the Liberty Loft. Copyright The Liberty Loft, 2020. You can find more shows and information on our website, www.thelibertyloft.com, or any of our social media channels.